Welcome to Thursday's North American mini office hours as usual. Um, Today's a big day because we hit 1 month of Klima existing, which to me feels like an eternity. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but the launch day seems so far away now. Um, yeah, I saw Chaz, you posted you tweeted the day or the month in review kind of thing, like the 10 million tons and all that stuff. It was awesome. Like the metrics are truly staggering. Like you look at the dashboard and you're like, holy moly, like how far we have come. it's it's pretty crazy. You know, consistent growth in on all sections. Backing growing, BCT supply growing, everything. Like we've very slow. Ooh, today we ticked up above Vera's 3%. We're now 3.1% of Vera, which is awesome. Super crazy. Like we hit 10% liquidity to market cap ratio, which this is a really important metric for everyone out there. Because I know people were like super hyped on the moon price like at the very beginning, but that's not good because then like if you look at the stats, like on the 18th, right, it was like 7.6%, like they're just like or 4% rather. You don't want that. You want high liquidity to the size of market cap, and you want this to grow over time, right? So this is like fantastic. 10% was like the goal we wanted. We hit that in a month. I think the next goal is like 15, and then 20 is kind of like the really long stretch goal. Our runway is like never healthier, like 105 days. APY is slowly creeping up because a lot of people have been selling. Klima holders also like 46,000 people. Like that's crazy. Like for anyone that's been in crypto for any significant period of time, they know that like these figures are very hard to hit. Like 46,000 holders, like unique addresses, is not an easy feat. Like that is something that everyone here should be super proud of. Like the DAO has definitely done an awesome job. I think everyone has really kind of pulled their weight. It's awesome to see the contributor discords now set up. They're finalizing a few things, budgets and all that stuff. So that's gonna be really cool to see, like what everyone's working on. People who are in there know that I just pop in and out of meetings, like just to check out what's going on. I'm like really curious. Like I always want to see what ideas people have. It's pretty awesome. There's lots of really cool stuff. Chaz, I know big praise to you and Marcus for like starting that whole thing, and now it's like definitely like taking a mind of its own, which is awesome. We got a little yapper here too.
Hard Rock Chris famous.
Who keeps paying Hard Rock Nick?
Our Nick, sorry. Oh my God. Yes, Nick. Yeah, of course. Well, I was trying to go back and
so good.
Yeah, they were fun. Yeah, the holder account is really interesting. Like, for someone that's been in DeFi a while, like most people are looking at, you want holders to be increasing generally over time, and for just being a month old, I mean, it's more than on average like over 1,000 unique addresses per day. Hasn't been like that consistent as of late, but it is really positive. Like
100%.
I see a ton of support and just the momentum from the community. So thanks everyone.
The really cool one too is like wallet distribution. I don't know if you've seen that one by Cujo. Average wallet size is 13 Klima. So like, it's very evenly distributed. Standard deviation of 239. Like it's unbelievable, those stats. I don't think we could have a more evenly distributed protocol. It's really, really cool. It's awesome. And then market cap, like that's, I know everyone's like, oh, like we're $1 billion market cap. Like that was definitely like moon money. I don't know if you guys, because you correlate that against the market cap liquidity ratio, like we didn't hit 10% until this week. So those price fluctuations are just complete volatility. But I think, over the next couple of months, we'll definitely inch closer towards the 1 billion, like organically, and like it'll stay there just like Olympus. Yeah, I mean, metrics alone are just really cool. Oh, and yesterday we made it our 5th time into Carbon Pulse, which is like the biggest carbon magazine on Earth. They wrote about us again. I don't know if I pasted it. So I think Dionysus might have quoted it. If not, I'll tweet it later. But it's so good. They quote policy team. They quote ASCII. They quote. Basically, they were talking about how we were talking about in our Medium post that Oxymoron wrote. That we're looking at Bitmos, and I guess that probably leads us to like the next logical step to talk about is ITMOs and Bitmos, and what does that mean, and what does that like kind of entail for the future of Klima. So we talked about like way back when, like before like any of this started, before the LBP, we were doing lots of calls, just like this one, and we were talking about all sorts of stuff, and we spent a lot of time educating our little community on like the types of markets. So just as a high level, there's two distinct markets in carbon. There's voluntary markets and there's compliance markets. Voluntary markets is where like Google, Facebook, Amazon, all those people, when they say they're going to be carbon neutral, they participate in voluntary markets. They buy tonnage from voluntary carbon offsetting projects. And that's what Vera is, Vera and Gold Standard. You hear those names tossed around all the time. So we compete currently in the voluntary market, and we own 3.1% of it as of today, which is crazy in 4 short weeks. There's the bigger, much larger market is the compliance market. It's huge by comparison. So Vera makes up 60 to 70% on most estimates of the voluntary market, which is only 386 million tons, right? And it's estimated to be worth like just a few $billions. It's not massive. Like we could definitely eat it up in a few years. The compliance market is like estimated anywhere from like $1 to $13 trillion based on the price of carbon. It's basically like state level actors. So like a country like the US or Canada or Germany or France trading its carbon emissions allowances to another country. So this is what they were all arguing about at COP26 this year. So this is why COP26 was super important in Glasgow, is because there was a lot of arguments around Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. And this basically allows, and they all agreed, which is really good, and this is kind of like the big thing, that the news that came out of it, they all agreed to move forward with the framework, and they're going to be trading them. Meaning that there was going to be an ITMO. They're called ITMOs, right? There's these like compliance tonnage, like from between state level actors. They're going to be traded. And so there's one company, then his name is Joseph Poulin, who runs it. You may have seen him on Twitter. He's awesome. He runs Blockchain for Climate. Blockchain for Climate built a digital version of the ITMO system called Bitmo. And it's issued on Ethereum. It's going to be mapped to Polygon. Basically, we can buy ITMOs as soon as they get issued. There's only one caveat to ITMOs, and ITMOs is basically they need to be issued by the state that is participating. So let's say like France decides they want to issue ITMOs. They're going to issue 1 million of them. They'll use Bitmo to do so, and then they become available on the blockchain, or traceable at least as NFTs. And then we will take them and create like a Bitmo BCT pool essentially, and then provide liquidity and trade for it, and of course purchase them through bonds the same way. So what it really means, is the reality of us, accessing the compliance market is a lot closer than we thought it was. I mean, most of us on the core team thought it would be like a year or two before we got there. I don't think we would. We would be looking at months now. So it all just comes down to this first country to decide they want to do ITMOs means that, and then they use the Bitmo platform, we're in. So we're super, super excited about that stuff. I mean, naturally, like Vera is still where we're gonna compete for the foreseeable future, but like it's just like this whole other thing that we can start looking at, which is really cool. Yeah, I mean, that's probably like the biggest news in terms of like the climate side of things. Tech side of things, there's lots coming on. I'm deploying a wsKlima, wrapped sKlima later today, so we'll have the ability to wrap Klima just as Olympus is doing so. It's a pretty straightforward contract. I just wanted to test it to be double sure. It's a complete fork of the Olympus one, so I'm just gonna take that one, and it's good to go for the most part. I tested it this morning on testnet. I just have a couple more things to write. Handover finally happened. So Atmosphereful was able to get the repo set up. It's all public now. You can go have a look front end and start tinkering. I know a lot of people wanted to do design work and stuff like that. Have at her. Like, it's come join the contributor Discord and show us what you got. It's up for grabs for anyone. Yeah, I guess that also kind of leads us to the point. I know Chaz, you probably, and Marcus, you guys probably have a better handle on this. Account safety is something we've been stressing heavily in the last little while in the Discord. There's a lot of people really want to do harm to this community. It's kind of unfortunate, but that's the nature of crypto. Once you succeed, you start having people who are trying to create scams and take advantage of users. We have the, I guess, fortunate and also unfortunate demographic in our community. So while we're 46,000 people strong, many of you are very new to crypto and very new to blockchain and DeFi in general, which is a good thing. It's actually a phenomenal thing. It basically screams that we're pushing adoption. But it also means that you have not been around to learn the harsh lessons of crypto and how to protect your own assets and basically basic SecOps and like how to make sure that you actually hold your crypto in a profound way. So Chaz and Marcus and the rest of the mod team, they've been doing their best to really just create resources so you read. I strongly encourage you to read everything. If you see someone who has what you think is a dumb question, please help them. They are probably asking it genuinely and not to be stupid. That's we've seen some serious questions that we thought were like people joking, but they're obviously not. Like the one Lil Yapper sent me, I think about it every day. It's the one where it said, "Hi, new to KlimaDAO, just staked. Do I have to leave MetaMask unlocked and my computer on to earn rewards?"
It's a troll. Well done. If not, please. Because I think
like I can't, like I don't know if it's fake or not, and that's like the scarier part.
yeah. Well, and I think we've seen a lot of people in this community call. They're probably more savvy. I'll give them the benefit of that. But yeah, it's just mostly like new people, brand new. So try to help them. We're looking to hardware wallet solutions and partnerships just to get those to people. But as you know, if someone just enters their seed phrase, doesn't matter. So yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna probably have some more like, I won't say training wheels, bumpers like for bowling on the homepage.
Yeah,
Just, yeah, bumpers. Keep you in mind.
bumpers.
guardrails.
Yeah, guardrails. Yeah, we gotta have. Ooh, one thing I wanted to kind of toss out there. If anyone knows the guys at Polygon Scan, which is actually Etherscan, can you please push them? I submitted the token update like a long time ago, and they still haven't updated on the contract. And there's like 10 fake KlimaDAO contracts on there. So if anyone can help out with that, that'd be awesome. This is like a genuine request. But yeah, I mean, like, there is a lot of really good interest in kind of what we're doing, and it's really, really awesome. So, Chaz, I think we were going to look at doing like a similar to what Olympus did, like giving away hardware wallets at some point, maybe for Christmas. Just like a big holiday giveaway for people so they can actually use hardware wallets correctly. So please, I urge you, if you do not have one, get one. They are so important. But yeah, so that covers probably like most of the housekeeping. The big announcement that some people may have already seen, but I will announce it anyway. As of yesterday the test went through, and today I think we are officially announcing it. There is a lending market for Klima. So on Market Protocol, you can go and lend your sKlima and borrow against it. It's called Green Leverage Locker, and we'll post a link after this. Basically, you can 9-9 with Klima now. So this also comes back to the earlier conversation of we have a lot of new people here who don't understand various things about crypto, and that being said, This is leverage, and leverage markets are dangerous for a number of reasons. You can lose your entire position if you don't know what you're doing, and there's the chance of liquidation. I strongly urge you to read everything you can about how these markets work, how they behave. If you want to interact with them, do so at your own risk. So not to be said that it's a bad thing. It's just there are risks, and you need to understand them, because there's absolutely nothing we can do if you blow up your own account. So that's I mean, in the coming days, maybe we'll find some people in the community who are willing to kind of, like, I know there was a couple people from OM who volunteered and want to talk about how these things work. We can set up like a little mini session where we can talk about these things. But fundamentally, that's like the big news. It's huge, because we're, I think, the only lending market for carbon assets in the world. As of today, you can borrow money against the value of carbon, which I think doesn't exist anywhere.
Not with a lot of liquidity. Like for other tokens, like UP CO2 or Moss Earth, I don't think I've seen them supported as collateral elsewhere. So
No.
truly a first. But yeah, like Archie said, we'll have a separate discussion on best practices for doing that. And yeah, the pros and cons really of it, and people can make their own decision.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting times. I mean, like, I think about this all the time. Like, this totally changes how people view carbon assets. It's now a collateral for lending. It's now a yield generating asset. Like, we've totally redone how carbon is viewed, and this is all thanks to all the hard work of people in the DAO, but also like foundational stuff that came from Olympus too. Like, you always gotta look back on who got you here. And so like a month later, I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe we're truly here.
Yeah, there's already a bot response for leveraging. I'm sure Marcus played a role in that. Well, it's already up, so perfect, because it will get asked a lot. So kudos to you guys.
Thank goodness. One thing, so the KIP2, if you guys want to vote on it, that would be awesome. Basically just allows the DAO to offer a bug bounty if bugs are discovered. I checked the bounty email this morning. There's already someone who sent one, and they said, hey, did you know that you could get the rebase and then unstake? I was like, yes, but that's not a bug.
It's a feature. Do you know you can buy and sell Klima?
Did you know you can just like come in and out of the protocol whenever you feel like? Yes, that is possible. But anyway, so that's up. If you guys want to vote on it over the next couple of days, it's awesome. KIP3 is the policy reward rate framework. It's going to be it looks like almost identical to OIP 18. Joe and Brian have been working quite heavily leading that. They're probably going to do like a mini session on policy at some point and talk about it. It's going to be, yeah, I know what's going to happen. Like, it's as soon as we release it, that like, a reward rate framework for reducing the rewards, because you need to have sustainable long-term growth. People are going to get mad, and there's going to be a lot of discontent people, just like there was at Olympus. But I mean, that's how you maintain a protocol for a long time. So I strongly urge everyone who's been and through the Olympus OIP 18 to please stick around and help people understand what's happening. Basically allow for this whole thing to kind of continue to grow and really be a success. We're going to need to kind of look at that. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, Ocean Drop is coming up in December. Really cool stuff. Started, we sponsored it as core team. Like, we put 500 tons, but I think we're going to put 5,000 by the end of it. It's going to be a bunch of NFTs going to ocean conservation, which is pretty cool. There was talks of them potentially launching like an ocean DAO, not them specifically, but a group within it. And they're like looking at tokenizing like ocean conservation and stuff like that, which would be cool. Like, very similar to what the Diatom guys were doing, but those guys are like focused on plastic. Well, it's too early to say like where they come out of that, but like it could be like a candidate for us to basically provide all the bonding mechanics for it, and then just take in ocean conservation assets. It's a very interesting prospect for sure. It's got a lot of really good, talented people supporting it. Our very own Sven, the guy who did the original IDO Klima NFTs, which are awesome. He's going to be doing a piece, and then like there's going to be a bunch of other people, that, like really famous NFT artists, but also famous just people in general, like Paul Nicklin. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's a Nat Geo photographer. Like you've probably seen his photos if you've ever watched Blue Planet, or with David Attenborough. Like that's all him, his photography, his cinematography. So like he's a world famous art, or not, I guess artist, photographer. I don't know what you want to call him, but like he's also doing his like very first NFT to support the ocean, which is like a really cool thing. Trying to think what else. What else can we? There's been a lot of things. Like it just always feels like there's so
On
much.
on KIP2, it might be worth clarifying. Some people were confused about the 2.5 million max cash value. Does that refer to the max payout is 2.5 million, or the max hack that it would be paid out to would be 2.5 million, and the payout would be 1.25?
No, the payout would be 2.5 million. So, like, if you discover a hack that could potentially result in hundreds of millions of dollars of losses, um, we would pay you 2.5 million for disclosing it. And, like, obviously, you have to prove that it's possible, et cetera, et cetera. There's like a lot of stipulations in that KIP. It wasn't written by me; it was written by like a lot of the security experts on the team. So, like, I looked it over and like reviewed it, but ultimately, it was written by people who typically write these types of things for audits. But yeah, that 2.5 million is like it's for like we referenced quite heavily the Olympus bug bounty, which is 3.3 million because the 3.3 for them. But we looked at our treasury and we're like 3.3 is kind of a lot. 2.5 is already kind of pushing it, so we kind of stuck it up there. But like it's all like the discretion of the hack, right? Like if the hack is going to cost us 100 grand, like we're not going to pay $2.5 million for it, right? We'll pay the cost of the hack. But if the hack is going to cost us like everything, um, then yeah, like it's a $2.5 million reward for sure, and it's paid out in Klima. Does that answer the question, Chaz, or did I just ramble?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. People
Okay,
were just confused about, it could be one or the other. So to
yeah,
clarify for everybody who is listening, it was 2.5 million is the max, with anything 5 million or up, because it's 50% of what the damage would be.
yes, exactly. Um, trying to think. There's so much going on. Like it's crazy. Oh yeah, Gitcoin. I forgot to talk about that. So Gitcoin is putting up a. I don't know if you saw their announcement. It was like a couple days ago. They're putting up a new category of Gitcoin round grants, along with a number of categories, like thematic categories. One of them being climate. So there's going to be a Web3 climate category. KlimaDAO themselves, they're going to put up 100K is kind of what we're throwing the figure around, to part of that pool. So for people to develop all sorts of Web3 climate facing solutions, whatever you want to do, that's like that's up for grabs there. If you ever participate in Gitcoin, it's an awesome community. It's a really great way to like test pilot a lot of Web3 ideas. So in that, so Gitcoin's going to put up money, KlimaDAO is going to put up money, and then we have a special guest who has joined us. I've talked about it. Is Rainforest Alliance. They're going to put up money as well. So they're making a big entrance into Web3 and Web3 climate. Thanks to KlimaDAO, they reached out to us and they really like what we're doing. And so they want to put up cash for that as well. So they'll be part of that. For those of you who don't know who Rainforest Alliance is, just look at any chocolate bar around the world. That little green frog on the back of it is Rainforest Alliance. They basically spend their money and time and effort protecting rainforests to ensure cocoa bean production is sustainable and doesn't absolutely ravage the actual Amazon. So very cool. So those guys are joining us, and there's a couple others. I don't know who else is going to join that Gitcoin matching round, but it's gonna be really cool to see, because like once that round goes up, you're gonna have all sorts of people coming up with crazy ideas for like how to tokenize this for the environment, that for the environment. And it's all stuff that like eventually KlimaDAO could take in as assets that are reserve assets, like very much like if you look at how Olympus has evolved. They take in all sorts of stable coins. Now they're like looking at taking ETH as a reserve asset, all sorts of stuff like that. And we are kind of in the same boat. Like if people start building all these like environmental assets, we have that opportunity as well, which is really cool. Trying to think anything else. Marcus, Chaz, have I missed anything? I know you guys are working on a lot, so if you guys have anything you want to chat about.
I think it's just worth mentioning to people that the DAO structure is we're almost fully operational. There's teams working in the background. I see a lot of people asking like, where's the marketing? Where's this and that? And like, I can assure you, people are hard at work on it.
Yeah, definitely. Walked into that marketing meeting with 20 people like discussing like something, and I was like, oh, just here to listen, guys. I know, Marcus, do you want to talk about playgrounds?
Sure, I can give a brief update on playgrounds.
Yeah.
So right now we're trying to figure out how to structure the organization. But basically, for those of you who aren't aware, one of the community contributors over at Olympus named Tachikoma built a interactive data visualization and simulator environment called Olympus Playground. I'll send around the link to that actually right now in office hours. And the plan is to generalize it and turn it into a tool that can be useful for both Olympus's community and Klima. So we're basically rebuilding it from the ground up in a more production grade framework. And it'll be made available to the Klimates, and hopefully by the end of the year is what we're planning for the initial rebuild for Klima. And then it'll be a joint effort between both the Olympus and Klima communities. And we're planning to apply for a grant through the Olympus Grants program, which is brand new. And we're also planning to apply potentially for a grant through the Gitcoin grants program that Archie was just talking about. The longer term vision is
that one.
Yeah, the longer term vision is ultimately to to create a learning environment and simulation environment for really all of DeFi 2.0, right? There's really a lack of educational content for especially the newer DeFi protocols like Olympus, and even Rari to some extent doesn't have a whole lot of great educational material. So that's really what we're envisioning for Playgrounds, is to create a sort of unified, decentralized, open source learning environment for DeFi 2.0.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm super stoked to see like the final result. It's going to be really, really cool. I think it's also like the first collaborative effort between Ohm and Klima, like outside of the initial stuff that we did.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the things that we've been working on a lot recently, is trying to figure out how to structure a project that really touches both communities fully, right? We've done we've got a few other smaller collaborations, and obviously Klima itself came out of Olympus, but it's definitely the first time that a major project like this has been spun out into its own entity that will serve multiple DAOs. So that's been a really interesting learning experience. And just to kind of excite you guys a little bit more about Playgrounds, the long-term vision is to issue essentially NFT certificates of learning, so that you can prove through a sort of interactive quiz that you've acquired the knowledge in a certain area, and then issue your wallet an NFT that will sort of attest to your knowledge of that subject. And we may even use this as like an entry requirement for some of the DAO departments. Like for instance, the policy department may require that you pass a test in the classrooms, the Playgrounds classrooms environment, to show that you understand some basic policy principles before you join the team.
Yeah, Awesome. I'm super stoked for it. When do you guys think you're gonna have like a working demo? No pressure. You don't have to answer the question. With like a
So
short
actually,
timeline.
yeah, Tachi just shared the first like ugly wireframey Klima Playgrounds implementation with us on the engineering call we had yesterday. So we're definitely making progress. The next step is really to pretty it up, and make it look all shiny like the current Playgrounds does. But I'm hoping by sometime around like after Thanksgiving or so, we'll have some at least a demo to show off to people.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure lots of people here will be looking forward to it. Yeah, I mean, Chaz, Marcus, you want to wrap it up here? I mean, that's like, yeah, there's lots coming. I mean, we're starting to build. We're out of the launch phase and now we're in the build phase. So I'm pretty excited about the next few months. I mean, Christmas is obviously going to slow down. Like December is always like a slow month. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. But it's yeah, it's going to be really, really cool.
Yeah, lots of irons in the fire, but very exciting.
Yeah, that's super, super, super exciting. Yeah, we didn't do any questions today. I guess we'll have to wait till next week. Maybe we'll do like a whole thing about questions. So I don't spend half an hour talking. But yeah, other than that, yeah, like this high level, like markets, lending markets launched today. Please be kind to your fellow climate. Help them understand what's happening. Be aware of scams, and yeah, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep. See you guys later.
Cheers.